The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. You're listening to The Secrets of Technology. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. Joining me today on the panel are Pat Scott. Hi, Pat.
Hello there.
And Father Andrew Kinstetter. Hi, Father Andrew.
Hello there.
We're very Obi-Wan tonight.
Hello there.
So that's very good. So I wanted to start this episode with another one of my tales of woe, and I relate these only as somewhat cautionary tales, but also maybe ways that things can work out for you if you have similar problems. And this one involves my beloved iPad Pro that broke my screen. I had it in a Bridge keyboard. Bridge is one of these keyboards where you kind of push it into these clips, the iPad, and then it folds up. It looks like a laptop at that point. And so I had in one of those, and the Bridge keyboard connects in these two connectors that are on the edge. And that's kind of important for how this broke. Because what happened is I put it in my bag. I was getting ready to go. Kids knocked it onto the floor, and it hit hard enough that one of those clips snapped off the Bridge keyboard, so the Bridge keyboard is toast, and busted the screen, which was just frustrating. It's like that's the worst feeling, like that first like like when you break a screen. So, and I've had way too many experiences of that over the years, and so at first I'm like, that's like $400 to replace that. That's crazy. Then I realized, no, I was smart. When I got my iPad, I got Apple Care Plus, which means instead of $400, it was $50. And all I had to do was I made a Genius appointment. Now, in these days of COVID, that's all very different than it used to be. But the first available Genius appointment at my local Apple store was 5 days later. So you get the thing that goes in the wallet app with the barcode, the QR code, and all that sort of stuff. That's all in there. So it's all very, very neat. I went down there at the appointed time. They have people checking you at the door for temp. There's a special lineup. There's Apple store employees to explain everything to you. And I always loved like when they're trying to triage, like, okay, so have you backed up? I'm like, yeah, this, that, and the other thing. And by the time like 30 seconds in, he goes, you know what you're talking about. You're okay. So that's always fun. So it went very quick. I went through the line, got up there, talked to the Genius. She hooks it up. And she looks at it, obviously, hooks it up. We take it off of Find My, the Find My app, so we turn that off. That's very important to do. Make sure they wipe it before I leave. I wipe the data off. That's very important as well. I always make sure you back it up before you take it to the store, like right before you go back. Make sure you have a clean backup. $50 swap out. And I had one hiccup, which was the iPad. I've been running the iOS 14.2 beta, and the iPad they gave me had iPad OS 13, so I couldn't restore my backup. I kept running into it, so I had to skip the restore stage, which I felt like very nervous about, but and then upgrade to 14, and then upgrade to the beta, and then I had to actually restore twice. The first time didn't restore, which made me very nervous, so I tried it again. And the second time it did. So just some words of warning of if you ever go through the similar thing, just the experience was really great. Apple does a great job, but there's a few things you got to be careful of as you go through it. But it always buy Apple Care Plus.
So was the difference that you paid for Apple Care Plus more than paid for itself?
Oh, yes. I saved something like I think it was whether it was $400 or $500 to replace the screen, but I saved at least $350. And this is the second time I've replaced my iPad. The first time was a bad USB-C port on it. So this is now my third iPad Pro that I've gotten replaced. The first one was it seems like a factory failure or something along those lines, not something I did, but nevertheless, it's more than paid for itself by this point, and it's good for a whole nother year. I got a whole nother year to go. So, and Lord knows around this house.
I'm usually not someone who ever buys the extended warranties on technology things, because the standard warranty, if it lasts beyond that, it's probably going to last for quite some time. But Apple Care is the only exception to that for me. With as expensive as iPads and iPhones are,
that's right.
And I've dropped my iPhone before and smashed the screen and had to go through that process too.
Right. I mean, we're walking around carrying like these very slippery, sleek, all glass devices everywhere. I mean, it just makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
I do notice that with the new plans that you can buy Apple Care as a 2-year program.
That's what it is.
Or you can do a monthly.
Mm-hmm.
And just as long as you keep paying for it, it sounds like you've got it under coverage.
That's true.
So that's what I'm looking forward to with my new phone.
You getting a new iPhone 12?
Yes.
Very nice.
It comes in on Sunday. So I will talk about the experience next time of, did I have the same COVID quarantine experience at the store as you did? Because I'm having it. I'm picking it up. I'm not having it delivered.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to compare notes because I'm getting mine shipped here on Friday.
Oh, nice. So did you both get the straight 12? Is that it?
I did the 12 Pro.
The 12 Pro, okay.
Oh, no, I did the straight 12, and I started to do the 12 mini, and then it was going to be another couple of weeks, and I said,
Right.
Yeah, I've got the 11. The 12 looks really nice, but I know this 11 is really good. It's not enough for me to shell out another $1,000 or whatever. I'm going to wait till 13. Lucky 13 for me next year, that's for sure.
Well, last year when you got yours, I was most envious. So at least finally I can say, oh, I can scratch that itch.
Yeah, there you go. Just don't scratch the phone.
And it's been 3 years since I've upgraded iPhones. So for me, it's
definitely
worth it.
time.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. That means with the Pro, you're going to see a huge difference, especially in
very excited.
photography. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
But our main topic today is we're going to do something a little fun, and it's always fun to see. You see this all the time online. Is people like, what do you carry in your bag? What's in your wallet? What's your everyday carry? Your EDC. That's like a hashtag EDC. And so I want to talk about what kind of tech do we carry every day. And when I use carry in a broad sense. So yeah, in your pocket or purse or wallet, or if you have a computer bag, or in your car, what kind of tech do you have with you every day? And one thing that this might be a good idea for is, as we're at the end of October, so it's still a little early, but it's not too early to start thinking of Christmas gifts, frankly. And you might find some handy stocking stuffers or Christmas gifts in this list that we're about to talk about. And we'll have links to everything that we talk about in the show notes, of course, on our website, sqpn.com/technology. The whole word technology. So what we'll do is we're going to kind of go round robin style and talk about let's first talk about what do you carry in your pockets? What's he got in his pockets is the Hobbit. So what you've got, like, say, on your keychain, in your wallet, your purse, that sort of thing. Pat, why don't you go first? I'll go last on this.
Well, since I never have deep pockets, they don't make them for women.
That's right.
Basically, I carry, on my keychain, I have a SIM card removal tool, which looks like a paper clip, only just kind of not quite as curly. And then I have my tile so that I can always find my keys and know where they are.
Yes.
Because I don't, but I'm always on my person I've got a little shoulder strap purse that people keep saying, would you like to put your purse down? No, I want it on me. So
that's right.
So I've got a few things in that, which would be, I carry around, actually there's an awful lot in here. So do you want to go on to the next person with what you got in the pocket?
Sure. Father, why don't you talk about the things you carry around in your pockets?
So I'm a pretty simple guy, and the only thing I keep in my pockets, technology-wise, is my iPhone.
Okay.
There are some exceptions, but like if I just like get up for the day and I'm out and about, that's all I got.
Okay.
Actually, I should say that because the phone is probably one of the highest pieces of technology that I use in my personal and business. So yes, good idea.
That's true. I think we all are on that one. We all have our phone in our pocket. And I should have mentioned up front. We kind of represent three different kinds of users. So I'm like a family guy user. Father, you're a single guy user. I'm not a boomer. I'm an Xer. You're a millennial. Pat, you represent the tech professional. That's you have clients that you're helping with things. So that's going to change what kinds of things we carry in our bags and our pockets and things. So I should have mentioned that up front. So for me, on my keychain, I have several pieces of tech. So I keep a Samsung Duo 64 gigabyte flash drive on my keychain that is both USB 3 and USB-C. So I can connect it to both, since now everything has two different connectors these days. But that I like you, Pat. I think you mentioned earlier, or you will mention. But I keep some diagnostic and utility apps on there. I also, on my keychain, I have a YubiKey 5 NFC, and I've mentioned this before on the show. YubiKey is a two-factor hardware authentication. So two-factor authentication is you have your username, your password, and a third factor, which in many cases is a number generated by an app on your phone or watch or whatever. But in this case, it's literally a hardware key that you put into things. And it will, because it's NFC, it'll work with my phone. I can plug it into my computers, that sort of thing. So I get that on there. I also have a tile tracker on there as well, because no more lost keys. I'm just so tired of losing my keys. So that's what's on my keychain. In my wallet, I have a Tile Slim. It's about the size of a credit card and slightly thicker, so it fits in there. And I have another YubiKey 5C NFC, so it's USB-C connector instead of USB 3, but also is NFC. And I have that tucked in there as well, because I just don't want to be out and about and forget that I didn't take my keys because I wasn't driving, but I need to get into an app on my phone. So that would be bad. So that's why I have that there. And then I have a bag that I carry with me. It's a small bag. It's a pocket organizer. It's called the Right in the Rain pocket organizer, and it's really intended to be for a small notebook. And it has straps on it, they're called MOLLE straps. Military backpacks have the MOLLE system. It's a strap system. But what I put in it, it's really nice, and it's flat. It folds up and it zips all the way open like a book. And I have a couple things in that. I have an Anker PowerCore Slim 5000 battery, so a small battery. They don't make the 5000 anymore. Now they make a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, which is even better. I have a tile in there. I have a 1-foot lightning cable to connect the battery, and a couple other things in there that aren't really tech related. But I also have, this isn't tech, but my iron lace design rosary made via my friend Kira Mitsui, who lives in Ontario. She makes these at ironlacedesign.com, and it is the strongest rosary you'll ever find anywhere. She makes it using the Japanese chainmail technique. I mean, you could hang it over a cliff edge and hang from it, and save yourself with the rosary that way. But so that's what's in. I carry in my pockets. I don't always carry the go bag, the pocket go bag. So that's why I kind of separate it out, because that's only if I know I'm going to be out and about, in long, far away from home for a long period of time, that sort of thing. So Pat, what do you carry? So what's in your purse?
My little pouch purse. Yeah.
And
it's not very big, but it's usually what I keep my keys, my credit cards, and a little bit of cash in, and some Kleenex, that type of thing. But as part of it, I always carry about a 32 gigabyte USB flash drive that has a lot of my main Windows diagnostics and utilities, and programs that I would like to be able to install, from one place to another, etc. I keep another SIM card removal tool. I bought a pack of 50 of them, so I've got plenty of them, because they're so little and so light that they easily fall and get lost. I keep a tile in there, of course. I keep a lightning to headphone jack, because now that we're on phones that have lightning, if you need something that uses a headphone jack, it's nice to have that. And my Square, I know that they have the NFC, but I don't seem to ever keep mine charged up enough when I need it. So I've always got the little swiper for my Square with that.
Square credit card reader. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I also keep what they call the lipstick form factor of the portable power from Anchor. I don't know the numbers on it, but we'll give a link in the show notes. But it's enough to charge up my phone when I'm in an emergency basis, and that's really but it's so small it fits in there very nicely. In fact, I can actually put 2 in there. And then I always carry a set of wired earbuds, because when somebody says, my sound's not working, I can check the sound front and back and on the side, wherever somebody's saying sound's not working, say, yeah, you're right, it's not. Or, well, let's see if the speaker may be having a problem, that type of thing. I always carry a small Phillips, reversible Phillips and flathead screwdriver, about 2 inches, 3 inches long, just enough so I always have one. I always carry a Lightning to USB connector, because there's always times you need to charge that phone or connect to somebody's computer. And then I always carry one of the little tiny square cube wall adapters in case I'm out of charge on the battery and I need to plug in something. So I'll always carry one of those in there. It's small. And then a little tiny micro USB cable to charge up that portable power adapter. And I've started carrying something called a spudger. And it's a very long, thin, flat plastic. Mine's plastic, and I got a pack of 10, I think. And they're sharp on the end. But if you ever need to pry open something, they're marvelous, because they're narrow on one end and thicker as you go along, and a point on the end that you can use to poke stuff with. So that all fits very nicely in my pouch purse. And it's never more than, 4 inches from my hip.
Okay. And if you need more, do you have a laptop bag or a bigger bag that you?
Yeah, I was going to say that's the next step up. I've also carry a bag in the car that if I'm going into a client's house or going to a friend's house or whatever, and they say, "Hey, could you look at something?" I go grab it, and the same type of cables. I've got a Lightning and a mini cable. I also carry a Lightning and a micro cable. I also carry one of those old-fashioned minis, because there are still some things like this microphone uses one of those cords. I carry more flash drives. There I carry ones for booting up Windows when you can't get it to boot. It can go into diagnostics and do a restore and things like that. I carry around Linux boot USB flash drives and things that have hard drive diagnostics with me. It also has a tile. I've also got one of the larger wall power to USB, like a 5-port. One of them is a USB power pass-through, and the others are regular USB-A's. And another power charger. This is the larger one that's got the dual ports, so I can charge up the iPad and an iPhone at the same time. I've got another spudger, a SIM card removal tool. I've got a larger screwdriver, one of those that the head comes off and switches, and then you open it up and you've got different tips inside that you can switch out. So that's my kind of one purpose all. And then I've got a bunch of blank USB flash drives, because I'm always having to copy stuff from one machine to another, and I don't want to use my utility ones for that. So these are ones that I could copy stuff off with and leave it with my client.
Right, because flash drives are like candies these days. You can find them for cheap everywhere in small increments. Yeah.
Right.
That's great, Father Corey. What about Father Andrew? Sorry, still on last week. I'm catching up. Father Andrew, what about your travel bag, like your laptop bag?
So I'm going to kind of split mine up a little bit before I talk about my travel bag. I mentioned that I just carry my iPhone on my person, but I did want to clarify that if I'm going out to go for a run, I carry a lot more tech on me. I carry my Apple Watch comes on when I go for a run. I have a nicer watch that I wear just for normal day-to-day things, and then I wear the Apple Watch specifically for when I go out for a workout. But also with that, I have the Powerbeats 3 wireless earphones that I use. They kind of wrap around your ear, and then the 2 earphones are connected by a cable, but then it's wireless to your phone. So for me, I really like those as opposed to the Apple
right.
AirPods or whatever, or the ones that just kind of stick in your ear and then they're not connected to anything. So that's kind of what I use if I go out for a run, if I go out for just like a walk and I want to like have my phone to take pictures, or if I'm out playing Pokemon Go or something, then I take a battery pack with me, similar to the Anchor. I forget exactly what brand mine is, but it keeps my phone from dying if there's a wonderful photo opportunity out there somewhere. So that's kind of, I guess, on my person. And then for like a travel bag, there's not a whole lot more that I do for a travel bag. I used to, and maybe this is the millennial in me, but I remember when I was in early college, like I would take my laptop everywhere, but that was also in the days before the smartphone. So nowadays when I travel, I think even when I went to Vancouver over a year ago, I didn't take my laptop at all. I just had no need to. I just took my phone, and the phone did everything that I could have wanted it to do. So typically I don't bring a laptop or charging cables for that, but I bring my phone and all the standard chargers that I need for that. A couple other random things that I at least throw into my travel bag is, as I always like to throw in my Nintendo Switch, which is a fantastic entertainment thing that, handheld entertainment that I can take on the plane, or I can take home with me and play on. I threw this one in there as well. I don't do this consistently, but I've done it every time that I've gone home, as I've packed my Oculus Quest. But yeah. that's been not for like airplanes, but more to share with my parents and my family back home when I travel up there. So that's kind of, I guess, it for what I throw into my travel bag. I travel pretty light technology wise. I throw in a real book or two because I really appreciate that as well. Dom, I know you're a Kindle fan, but I haven't been able to really get on board with Kindle. I love audiobooks and I love real books.
If anybody ever sees my the stream, if they ever see me stream, you can tell I love real books too. I have like 1/10 of our home family library in the shot behind me, but I find I don't read them as much because I'm always going here, there, and everywhere. And so the Kindle books, I've always got my phone or my Kindle. But I get it. It's funny that the difference is because I get the jitters if I travel without my laptop. You know what I mean? If I'm away from home for more than a day or two, I want my laptop with me because I use my phone, I use the iPad, but I don't feel like I can really get things done without having that full keyboard and the full power of the computer. But I get it. But like I'm an Xer, and that's my crutch. That's how it is. Yeah. So it's kind of funny.
I wanted to add that I guess when we're talking about a little personal bag, the other thing I always stick in there is my iPad. And I've got the iPad with the 8.5-inch, whatever it is. And that's always helpful because if I get to some place that doesn't have internet, then I've got a cellular one, so I can get on the internet and search for a replacement machine or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I understand. I guess I travel midway in between you and Father.
Right.
And it's interesting there too, because I've tried the iPad. Like I've had an iPad and I've loved it, but I never used it as much. So in fact, I had an iPad mini that I gave to my brother so that he could entertain his 2-year-old as they drove out they actually drove out to the Northeast. I don't remember if it was Maine or near Boston. I mean, so actually in your neck of the woods, Dom. But nice. But like I gave it to him because I don't ever use it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
And it's interesting too, because like I'm perfectly content. I mean, I'd rather watch my TV shows on a big screen, but I'm also perfectly content to watch it on my little iPhone 10.
Once you get a little north of 50 and you just no, I get it. No, I mean, I was looking at Audubon photos with my kids on my phone today, and I was like astounded again at the quality of the screen on an iPhone 11. It is like I was boggling my mind, like thinking back to what computer screens look like and TV screens or whatever years ago. So yeah, I get it. For my computer bag, I've got is it? I forget what the brand. I think it might be Brent Haven. Had it for years. I don't travel. Like when I worked in an office, I carried it with me every day, obviously, and kept all the stuff. I don't use it as much for that anymore. This is more if we're going away or something like that. But or if, back in the days when you could do this, if I wanted to go work someplace else for the day, like in the library or the coffee shop. Of course, you don't do that anymore. But I've got the usual assortment of cables and things like that. But I wanted to just mention a few things specifically. I have a travel power strip, and what it is it's a 2-port power strip with a cable that wraps around it, so that I can plug it into the wall at a distance almost, and so it doesn't have to be in the wall hanging from the socket, which can be a problem sometimes depending if you're a hotel or other places. But it wraps around and plugs into itself, which is nice. So it keeps the cable nice and neat. And then it's got three electrical outlets and then 3 USB ports. So, and I always keep that in my bag because I never know when I want to plug into something. Then I also have, like you mentioned, Pat, I have a 5-port Anker USB wall charger. 2 of them are USB 3, like the higher power, and 3 of the lower power. I have bunches of these everywhere, like these multi-port chargers, because with a family, you've got devices everywhere, and I get more ports than I've got things to charge, but the things are never near the charging port, that sort of right. So this one doesn't have USB-C charger, and if I were to buy one today, I might get one with USB-C, since I now have a MacBook that charges with a USB-C. So I might upgrade that if I did. A couple other things that are tech adjacent. Eagle Creek is a company name. They make this thing called a packet mesh system, and it's designed for like suitcases for like putting clothes and toiletries in, but it's perfect. They're these mesh zippered bags that are perfect for throwing all kinds of little things into, so that like I have a bag for photography related things, like small tripods and handles and things like that, and a little like light. I have another one that's just for audio stuff, and so I can just grab that. Like if I need my audio stuff, I grab that out of my bag and go with it. So it keeps it organized. So that's really good. I also a previous pick of the week was something called the UCool cable organizer bag, and it's one of those bags that it zips open. And it has all of these elastic straps that you can put cables in, and it's organized. What I love about it is that it's bright green on the inside, not gray, not black, like all these tech bags are. Then you can't find anything against it because all the cables are black. This is bright green, so everything stands out against it. And then I have all kinds of cables and adapters in there, including an Anker USB dual port charger with foldable plug. So another charger, but this one's small and it's much more portable. So, and I get a whole bunch of other things in the bag that I keep. I always keep an umbrella in my bag because I'm an old man, and you never know when it's going to rain. Always be prepared for that, that sort of thing. But
not in Wyoming.
Yeah. And also, guys, always keep spare shoelaces in your bag.
Well, since I don't wear any shoes that need laces, I guess that would I could use them for something else.
But guys, if you wear work shoes, you are going to find yourself at work one day with a broken shoelace in your hand, and you're going to say, "I wish I." This is the voice of experience speaking.
That's a great gift idea too. It's small, yes. Goes under the tree.
Exactly. It's not tech related. It's just old man advice. So that's that. So that's our computer bags. Let's move on to what we keep in our car that's tech related. Pat, why don't you go first?
Well, again, since I've got a dual role here, I need to be prepared to help somebody with almost any problem they've got. So I've got all the assortment of cables. I've got all the that type of thing. I carry around, and it sounds stupid, but I carry around a battery backup UPS because I've got so many people that have had power problems. They've blown out their machine because they had a power surge. So I always carry one with me that I can say, set it up for them, and then they can pay me for it. I just, pay, whatever I paid for it, they pay for it.
Cool.
I also carry around a portable USB hard drive, a spinning hard drive. It's a terabyte drive. I guess I could probably do a 2 terabyte now, but because I'm always having to help somebody back up a machine and restore, I keep one that has never been used before in the car again, so that if they say, but I don't do time machine, I don't know how to get one set up. I've got one in the car I can use. or back up their machine for them. I also carry a DVD drive around these days because nobody buys machines that have DVDs, and then they'll say, I've got all of these photos on these CDs and I can't read them, so I carry one of those around. I also carry an extra keyboard and mouse wired because a lot of times if somebody's having trouble, it's because their wireless keyboard or mouse has problems. So I want to make sure I've got one that won't have that type of problem to test with. And of course, a power strip, extension cords. I don't use them as much, but I used to carry around a lot of blank DVDs. Oh, one other thing is a case that's designed to take a drive that you've removed from a computer. So I can slap it in there. It's got a USB on the other end. So if it's a portable laptop drive or a desktop drive, I can then take it out of a dead machine and help somebody, to take care of getting their data back. And then the regular assortment of spudgers and all that kind of stuff. And in the car, I also keep a pair of needle nose pliers and one of those little tiny plastic claws that you push and you can go find screws that have dropped on the floor or down inside a computer.
You know what they need is one of those with a light in it, so that when you're going down looking for it on the floor, it's shining the light at it.
Well, that's probably a good idea. I do use my phone as my flashlight. I used to carry a flashlight in there, but now I don't. Yeah. I just use my phone. If I could just get I need a strap that I can just put on my phone that I can use it as a miner's lantern.
A head strap for your phone. That'd be great. Now, I actually carry a flashlight in my pocket all the time, just separate from my phone, because while I can always use the phone, I prefer I prefer not to kill if I ever need like an extended use, I prefer to not kill my phone battery. But that's a good point. Father, what about you? What do you keep in your car? Any tech in your car?
So the primary thing that I keep in my car is something to keep my phone charged, and I use it's a wireless car charger. I forget the brand that I have, but it's similar to Dom what you have in our show notes. It's and you have the iAudi wireless car charger. Mine looks almost identical, where you can stick it into your vent. And then and then mine has just a cord that connects to a USB slot within my console, and then I just stick my phone on there and it charges it wirelessly. And then and that's really all I need, because then my phone connects to my stereo system through Bluetooth, so it's all connected there. And yeah, I know some people kind of have like you might have extra chargers for other people, other passengers, and I usually I don't have passengers, so if you're riding with me, you're kind of on your own for charging your phone, but that's primarily what I have in my car.
Yeah, I used to I have like you mentioned, the iAudi wireless charger that goes in the air vent, and depending on your vehicle, that may or may not work for you. But I always had the suction cup that went on the windshield, and especially if you live anywhere up north, that's problematic in the cold months, because I'll come out to the car in the morning and it's like on the floor of the car, because it releases from the windshield with the cold. So, and then you gotta like moisten it with your saliva, and that's really gross on the window. And then you're like, oh, it tastes gross. So I like the air vent thing instead.
I'm also just opposed to putting something in my field of vision. Granted, I use my phone for navigation, but I can sort of just glance at my phone on the vent, but it's not obstructing any of my vision through the windshield.
That's the other thing. Yeah. Like, I think when we used to have GPSs up there, that was a thing that people often did. But yeah, I prefer to have it a little lower out of the field of vision. And it's great because this is, it's spring loaded. So you push the phone against this button and it locks it in.
Yep.
And then to release it, there's like a squeezy thing. You squeeze it and it releases it. So it's really nice in and out very quickly. It's a one-handed operation, and it like you mentioned, it's a Qi charger, so you're not fiddling with cables. Which in our other vehicle, we have a van. It's a holder. It's two-handed, and I got to get the cable in there, and it's a pain in the neck, and there's the cable's in the way. So I prefer that in my car. And then the other thing I have is a multi-port car charger. Now, this is what you were talking about, because we always have multiple devices in our car that need to keep charged, especially on long trips. And so what this does, it has. I should look at it here on the Amazon page, because I gotta make sure I get all of the different ports. Oh, I gotta open it up. So if you bear with me for just a second while I click the link and it opens up Amazon. So what it is, so it's got one thing that goes into what we used to call a lighter, but now they call it a power adapter, cigarette lighter adapter. And so in that, there is a USB-C charging port. Okay, so there's one there. And it also has a voltage indicator. So that's very nice. It tells you if your car's got enough voltage coming out of it, which is good. It also has 3 additional, so it goes to this box, and the box has 3 more cigarette lighter adapters. So if you've got devices that have their own cigarette lighter adapter, like, I don't know, like a dash cam or a GPS or something like that, those can go in there. It also has, I think, 3 USB ports, the regular USB ports, for plugging other things into. So I've got a couple of like a dual port cigarette lighter adapters that I've plugged in. So I've got like 8 ports I could potentially plug stuff into, which is great there. And it really, and it's like, it was $16. You know, it's so cheap, and it gives so much extra power, which is really great. And then, the voltmeter, it's got power switches so you can turn things on and off. So that's really great. I did mention, I didn't put it down in the show notes, but we have a dash cam. I don't know if I've never like gone back and looked at the footage. I mean, if someone rear ends me, you know, because it's got a camera in the back and in the front or anything like that, I'll have it. But I don't know that's it's not something I necessarily recommend someone get. I got it as a review unit, and I don't think it's all that big a deal. But you know, maybe there'll be footage on YouTube someday of some amazing accident that happens in front of me, or a UFO landing in the street.
UFO is the one I want to see.
I'll have that footage right there. So that's going to be on YouTube for me someday. So that's what I got in my car. I don't have. I used to have a lot more tech in the car, but you just don't need it as much anymore. Mm-hmm. I used to have a Bluetooth speaker, but you know, I got Bluetooth in the sound system and everything. So, all right. So I think there's other tech that people could carry, and I would love to hear from listeners if you have tech that you particularly carry with you, that it's a particularly clever idea that it might be useful. I would love to hear about it. I carry some other things that aren't really tech, but I think are nice. I have a portable pen that goes on my keychain, so I always have a pen on me. I have a Leatherman multi-tool that I carry on my belt that has all kinds of screwdriver heads, adapters of all different sizes. Like I think it has 16 different screwdriver heads that fits in a little pouch on my belt. So that sort of thing. It's sort of tech adjacent, I call it. It's not exactly tech. Let's move on to our next segment, which is talk about some headlines. This is kind of a fun one. You've got your Amazon Echo, and you got your Google Nest, and you got your HomePod. Well, now you can get your Joel Osteen Inspiration Cube. That's right. Joel Osteen, the senior pastor of the Lakewood Church in Houston, the mega of all mega churches, apart from the Catholic Church. But we won't go there. It's not a contest. They're selling this new cube. It's $40, and it's not exactly a smart assistant. What it does is you press a button and you'll get one of 365 daily inspirations, 52 sermons, or 31 affirmations that it will play. You can start each day with just a touch.
No scripture
of something from Joel Osteen, anyway. So,
but no scriptural readings.
It says it's a library of Joel's inspirational messages in a portable, rechargeable audio device.
All right.
You can pick it up at Walgreens, CVS, and Walmarts across the country. I don't know. I don't know what do you think? Is this something you can imagine?
Maybe we could get some of Bishop Barron's, things on there.
Word on fire.
That would be perfect for an inspirational cube. Maybe we ought to recommend that and get a cut.
Yeah.
I appreciated the first comment on that news article was, of course, now I forget exactly how it was phrased, but no, they said, couldn't there just be a 99-cent app for this?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, depending upon the technology of the person living in the house, they may be in their 80s, and so they may not have a smartphone.
Yeah, I like the advertising image. It shows their inspirational message 184. God's got this.
Well, I sort of, as I was reading through some of them too, it was like, it sounded like a fortune cookie too. Like, you know, blessedness is going to come your way, or I mean, something along that lines.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that I thought of too is like, if I want daily inspiration, like I don't need a cube to tell me that. I can just open up the Bible, you know, like go old school, as it were.
Hey, old school, listen to a podcast, you know?
Right.
Or play a record.
Actually, what I want is the Jimmy Akin mystery cube. That's what I want. The soothing tones of Jimmy Akin coming out of my mystery cube.
Well, and then it'll float and it will disappear when you don't need it.
Yeah, there you go. It's the Jimmy Akin Bet Sphere.
Yeah.
I can make one. Call it the Bet Sphere. Anyway, sorry, we're getting silly. Let's move on. So, just a little silly just to start off. This one I really like because it's right up my alley. The headline is Group Files Largest FOIA of All Time. Now, FOIA is a reference to the Freedom of Information Act, and if government has information that is non-classified and should be available, anyone can file a Freedom of Information Act request to get this information. So what happened is a group of genealogists, historians, journalists, and teachers want the National Archives and Records Administration, they're in charge of what you'd expect, to release billions of digital images to the public that were supposed to be released to the public or made accessible to the public years ago. The NARA, National Archives and Records Administration, was by law, this law came out that they were going to partner with private companies like Ancestry.com to digitize and upload census records, immigration records, and other things that genealogists and historians use all the time. And to compensate Ancestry and other partners that were doing this, they would have a limited period of about 3 to 5 years where they could sell access to it. And then that was to expire, and then it was to be made available to anyone. Well, that never happened. And I do genealogy of my family's tree. In fact, we were doing that just a few weeks ago. We were talking about it in my family. And I have a family tree on Ancestry.com, but I don't pay for you can have a tree there without paying for it. I don't pay for it because it's wicked expensive to get access to this stuff. It's something like $150 for 6 months. So like $300 a year to get access to this information, which is supposed to be free to the public. What do you guys think of this? I mean, obviously, it should be free. But what do you think of? Is this the sort of thing that is this the sort of thing the government should have done in the first place? Was this ripe for a problem when this happened, like predictably? What do you think of that?
Well, I think the information, yes, I would love to see it available because I, like many others, and you have tried to search down the family tree and found that I can't get that information without paying a bunch of money. I think asking for it to be released, there's so much of it. I'm kind of mind boggled at how are they going to do this in an economical fashion? You know, how are they going to? Is it going to be just something on the internet that people can go Google inside this particular database? How are they going to do it? I would love to see it, but that's a lot of work.
I would hope that what would happen is somebody else would come along and say, yeah, I'll create a database and a website and sell access to it and create competition. Mm-hmm. So, but we'll do the same thing Ancestry.com does, and we'll do it for $5 a month or instead of 20 or whatever, and create some competition in the marketplace. But I think someone should be compensated for figuring out a way to make this information easily searchable and findable. But yeah, I mean, this is the sort of thing that kind of drives people crazy because it's a monopoly that the government has granted to people for our information. These are our documents about our families.
Right.
That's
people are gonna pay that, and groups like Ancestry.com, I mean, there's a reason why they probably haven't really relinquished this at all and just kind of, waited. Right. Yeah, because they want to make money and they know that people are going to pay for it. So, I mean, I think it makes perfect sense to open it up. And yeah, I'm all for competition and you know, but also maybe, you know, if it's out there on a database, if you feel competent and adventurous yourself, you could delve into it on your own without, you know, having to go through another company to sort it for you.
Yeah, have the access be open, but have tools that people can decide whether they want a simple tool or they want the nifty bang, you know, $25 a week tool, you know, that somebody's really made a nice slick interface. Yeah, that would be nice.
Create a marketplace for it. And that's the other thing is Ancestry never, I never knew that this was all like supposed to be public record. They never tell you.
Right.
Yeah, they're not going to let you know that, you know. One thing I think a lot of people don't know is Ancestry, and I might have to check this, but my understanding is the Ancestry.com is actually owned by the Mormons. It's owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because genealogy is a huge part of their theology. I don't want to get too much into it, but genealogical records are very important to their theology. And so Ancestry.com, if it's not directly owned, it comes out of them. Like it might be spun off or something.
Well, I guess what I had heard is that when you were searching on genealogy, you could go to the Mormon records, and there was a couple of places you could go, or you could use Ancestry.com with those tools. I didn't know that they had any real relationship. I thought they were separate databases for separate uses, but they, you know, where people could get information from either one.
Yeah, it might be.
I don't know. Maybe they have bought into it now. It could easily be.
It's not owned by it might be that just that individual Mormons started the company as a way, you know, to do this
facilitate
work
things,
for other Mormons. So I don't want to necessarily, you know, say the wrong thing. So maybe I should pull that back a bit. But there is that relationship to
they're very interested in history and for lots of reasons. Sure.
Let's do one more headline this week, and I want to talk about this TikTok story, another TikTok story. This one is not about lawsuits or bans. This one is interesting though. It's a cautionary tale, and it's about how these TikTok profiles were scamming people and made $500,000 pushing scam apps on underage kids through the Apple and Google app stores. So, and what's amazing about this, I love the best part about this, is that the whole scam was uncovered by a kid, by a girl, the 12-year-old girl from the Czech Republic. So, what happened is these 3 TikTok accounts that had over 350,000 followers were involved in at least 7 scam apps being distributed in both Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And the users had downloaded the apps more than 2.4 million times, which earned the scammers $500,000 in fees. And this girl discovered that she had been participating in Avast, the cybersecurity app. Yeah, she was participating in one of their Be Safe Online initiatives that teaches kids how to, you know, be safe with cyber threats. And so she saw that this thing was violating the principles that she had learned, and so she alerted people and got investigated. And that's what they found out. So I mean, on the one side, cautionary tale: don't buy things through TikTok app profiles and that sort of stuff. Be careful of the apps you buy or let your kids buy. But also, wow, this is great. Teach your kids how to spot scams. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think of this story?
Yeah, I just thought it was really cool that, you know, here she got recognition for having asked all the right questions and done the right digging. And I think that's just really a good example.
Yeah, it's good to see that, because I think most kids are probably not in that realm of thinking. In fact, I mean, if they've got over $500,000 worth of scam money, you know, most kids, unless you have, you know, a parent who's really watching what their kids are doing, you know, the kids can just, I mean, they're just following what they see and what they hear and what they think that they need. I mean, they're not trying to be scammed or be, you know,
right.
But it's I'm just not a fan of TikTok. Oh
yeah. But kids are curious. Yep. They're interested, and they're averse to asking mom and dad for, is it okay? Is it okay?
And they're more naturally trusting. So like if you know, you see this app that, this looks like a good thing, or it's, you know, I forget some of the apps that the scammers name their apps very benevolently. And so, right. You know, it's so, and for a young kid, or even, most of us too. I think our natural inclination is to be too trusting.
Yes. It's sad to say. I mean, we have to be a little cynical with things online, but it's funny. My 12-year-old is 14-year-old. I keep forgetting what age they are. My 14-year-old comes to me with her computer. Dad, I got this email. Is it okay? And I look at it and it's like, oh yes, it was a text. It was from her one of her fellow scouts who sent her an email through the text system. You know how you get those?
Yep.
And it's a phone number at Verizon.
Yep.
Something. Like, yeah, that's okay. But then my 11-year-old son accidentally had been getting into around the controls on the iPhone that I gave him that doesn't have phone service. We had just given to him to do, audiobooks and music, but he figured out how to, there was some loophole, and he was in YouTube watching YouTube videos, which thankfully I checked were not bad, really bad. Some of them had bad language, so I was a little chagrined at that. I watched some of them, but he was looking for Star Wars and Legos videos, frankly, and it's hard to blame him, but we had to talk about that. But I mean, even kids that you've taught about it, that you trust them, they can get into a bad place very easily if you're not paying attention. And so that was a reminder to my wife and I. We've got to be paying even a special attention to what they're doing and keeping them aware that even things that look innocent can sometimes not be.
And I think that's a good warning to everybody. Because just this last week, I had a staff member come out and start to ask if one of our elderly parishioners was in having a serious medical issue, because she got an email from her saying that she did, and she needed gift cards.
Yes.
And so, but the natural inclination is that, oh, we have someone in trouble, let's help them.
Right.
And so we just have to be very, very aware that if you sense anything that's off, verify it. Like this particular lady, she showed up to RCIA, and so I went up to her and told her that I asked her where she wanted all the gift cards that I got her. I did not get her gift cards because I totally knew it was a scam, but she was perfectly fine. Right. So if there's ever anything like that, it's just important to verify. Call them up and ask them if they sent the message, or don't just blindly follow an email that shows up asking, especially for iTunes gift cards.
Well, I've had some clients this last week, in fact, that one lady, her email had been hacked, and that was all her friends were getting all of these things, and she had several people she actually paid back who went and got $300 worth of gift certificates, gift cards, and because they were trusting, they thought she really was. She was older, and they thought maybe she had these problems, and it's just so sad. So, yes, everybody assume it's bad unless you can find out it's good.
That's right. Now, actually, that reminds me. I listed something on Craigslist. I'm selling some old, tech stuff I got laying around that I don't need anymore. And I often throw stuff on like the Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. So I threw this up on Craigslist. I got an email. Oh, I'm ready to pay cash for this right away. I'll bring my car. I have a car that I can carry it away in. And I'm like, it's like a coffee can size. You don't need a special car to carry it away. But I'm like, so my signals, my antenna went up on that, and I said, yeah, sure. Let me know when you can come and get it, and we'll arrange a place where we can meet to get it, because I'm not giving them my address. And and they're like, oh no, I am ready. Take it off of Craigslist immediately, and I will send you a certified check. Nope. That is a scam. They will send you a certified check that will bounce, and you will lose the money in your account and whatever it is you ship to them. Don't do that. So that's I threw it away. I didn't even respond. I just threw it away. So good cautionary tales. All right, that means it's about time for us to move on to our picks of the week. Father Andrew, why don't I let you go first with your pick of the week?
Okay, so since I referenced the Nintendo Switch earlier, my pick of the week this week is Mario Kart Live, which actually just released last week. It is a very, very cool blend of AR tech and the Nintendo Switch. So what happens is you buy this Mario Kart set. It's a like a remote control Mario Kart. So, kind of just a little Matchbox size little Mario Kart. but it comes with cardboard gates, 4 different gates, and you can set them up in your living room. You can set them up and create your own course throughout your house. You can't go too big because it needs to, the cart needs to be in close proximity to the Nintendo Switch. But this little cart has a camera on it as well. And so what you do is you set up the course, you connect the cart to the Nintendo Switch, which is really easy. And you control the cart through your Nintendo Switch and through the camera. So you can actually you see the the view from the cart on the floor, and it recognizes all the gates and in what order you approach them because they're numbered. And so you create your own course, and you can race some AI computer, Bowser Jr. and his buddies. You can race them, but you can also race, I think, up to 4 other people. So you're not really actually watching the cart as it goes through the course. You're actually watching your Nintendo Switch or your TV screen, but you have the view of the cart. And so all the standard things right. And all the standard things that you'd think of is if you hit a banana, your cart slows down and the actual physical little remote control cart slows down. Or if you get a mushroom, you boost, and the same thing, the cart goes faster. And there's some really fun videos out there of people going under the bed and finding the cat, and there's oh, wow. So some really cool blend of AR technology and Mario, and something that I think could be really, really fun for families, especially as Christmas is just around the corner.
That sounds like a really great Christmas gift.
It's $100 for one set though, so it's not entirely cost friendly, but it is some pretty amazing technology and super easy to use and super fun.
You could be a super spy driving that thing around and looking in different corners.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I could really drive my wife crazy with that. Really drive her crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. That's great. And Pat, what's your pick this week?
Well, I followed in Father's steps, and now I have an Oculus Quest 2.
Whoa.
Wow.
And I had the Oculus Go, and that was fun, but it doesn't have hand controllers, but there was a lot of good stuff on it, but my eyes are getting bad, and the resolution wasn't good enough on it for me. I mean, I would find myself overtired after I'd been playing with it, but the Go was great because it's standalone. It's easy to set up and use. There are things you can buy. I have now decided, as I say, the Oculus Quest 2, one of the biggest differences is the price of the games. They're a lot more expensive than they were on the Go, but they are so much nicer. I mean, the resolution I'm just enjoying it. And maybe we should do a Star Trek Bridge Crew session sometime.
Yeah. I do have that on mine.
I know you do. And I haven't bought it yet, but I did buy the Beat Saber and let's see what else I did. A miniature golf. And I've got the Tetris one, too, that looks like it should be really fun. So I'm starting out on those. But those, you pay them a little bit greater pop for those than you do for an iPad or an iPod, iPhone game.
But there's something immersive about the experience that you could never get on an iPhone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The only problem I have is when something that it says, okay, you need to register this and enter this code. Then I have to disassemble everything and get the thing off and look at my phone. Oh, I've already forgotten what it is. And I can't write it down because I still can't see it in there. But at least there's a browser. So if I can put something in an email and send it to myself, I can read it on there.
Yep.
But it's been a lot of fun. I've only had it a week, but it's like, oh, this is fun. And being able to, mark out space in different rooms and have a different in different environments. That's really cool.
So they have Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge coming
in November.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you could do the Vader's Quest.
Vader Immortal.
Vader Immortal, yeah.
Oh, that is so worth it. I can't recommend that highly enough.
Well, good.
Okay.
That'll be a good one to start.
The opening scene as you're in the cockpit of your ship and you are pulled out of hyperspace by a Star Destroyer and it just looms over you. It feels
awesome.
like you're there. Not it's
if you tell me that I could get Star Wars Squadrons for it, I'm going to be $300 poorer.
Well, the problem is, Dom, you don't have enough floor space to map out an area. You have to go outside.
I know.
Unfortunately, I think Star Wars Squadrons can do VR, but you have to have the PS4.
Right.
Which I have it for the Xbox, and I'm not going to buy a PS4. But that in VR would be really cool.
I'm not a console guy, but I've always wanted, like, I played Star Wars X-Wing back when it was pixelated, and we were talking about the screens, like, oh my gosh, the idea, I drool over these trailers. Oh, the idea that I'm playing, I can't justify spending the money on it, but boy, would I love that.
Well, when you get that big house, you'll have the room,
Well, there you go. All right. All right. So the Oculus Quest 2, that's great. And it's at $299. That is a less expensive, isn't it? They came down in price?
Yeah,
the first one?
Right around 300, yeah. And,
okay.
But I don't know what yours was running when you got yours. You remember?
I am not remembering.
I think the original might have been, a little $100 more than that. I think
that's what I was thinking. It was more like $400, that was too much for me to consider at that point.
Yeah,
but this is not that much more than the Go. So
Well, when the Apple glasses come, I'll get those.
And it is worth pointing out that to use the Oculus Quest, you have to have a Facebook account.
That is true.
Yes, I know, but I'm already on a Facebook, and so
most people are. But
I pull my privacy, down as tight as I can. But that is the drawback on this one. And they said, actually, aren't they going to force the Quest users to go that way in a year?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Everyone will have to be on Facebook again. Gee, I wonder why they bought Oculus.
I wonder why, yeah.
So my pick this week is related to my tale of woe at the top of the show, which is, as I mentioned, my Bridge keyboard broke, and that's a little pricey to replace it again, and I'm a little annoyed by that. But I've had Logitech keyboard cases for iPads before, and I like them. The last one I had for a previous iPad, it had this weak spot that kept breaking, but it was a smart connector keyboard, and I really like that instant connection, whereas Bluetooth is always that delay. But I can't really justify the expense of the smart connector keyboards. It's really way too much. So what I did was I picked up the Logitech Slim Folio Pro, and what this is, it's soft plastic to get it in instead of hard plastic. It doesn't snap in like the one I had before, the Logitech Create, I think it was. So that's less likely for that to break getting it in and out. But this one it's not a smart connector. It's Bluetooth. Still works okay. I like the feel of the keyboard. It's backlit keys even. You can turn off the backlighting if you want to save the battery, but I feel like the battery on the keyboard lasts forever. And it's got a really nice feel. It's a full-size keyboard. I didn't get the one with the trackpad. I was like, it's like $30 more for a trackpad. I already touched the screen on my MacBook Pro because I forget that it's not a touchscreen. So I'm like, I might as well just touch the iPad screen with that. So if I need a pointer, I probably got Bluetooth mouse somewhere in my cabinet of technology here, my cabinet of obsolete tech, because everyone has one. So that's my pick, is the Logitech Slim Folio Pro. They make them for the iPad Pro 11 for first and second gen, and they also make one for the larger size iPad Pro as well. And then they make ones for iPad Airs and that sort of stuff. So they got one for all the different sizes. All right, I think that should do it. We do want to make sure, before we go, that we take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Technology, including James C., Marcello P., Bo B., Stephen B., and Ramona F. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Technology and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So that's it from us. What do you think of our discussion? What do you carry in your everyday carry, in your pockets, in your bag, in your car? You let us know. You can comment on the show at sqpn.com/technology, or the SQPN Facebook page, facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, or send an email to technology@sqpn.com. And you'll find links to all that stuff we talked about in our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at sqpn.com. Be sure, by the way, that you have subscribed to the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, your favorite podcast app, or at the SQPN YouTube channel, where you should always, when you subscribe to a channel, hit the bell to get notifications, because that's what we're supposed to say. Until next time, Father Andrew Kinstetter, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of technology.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Pat Scott, thank you as well.
Always glad to be here.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Technology on StarQuest.